All right, welcome everybody to the Elite 100 Syndicate meeting. It's great to see you guys. It's been a long time coming, and the purpose of tonight is really to outline, why we're putting this syndicate together in the Elite 100. Some of the players in the group. We have an actual first deal on the table, and I'll bring Tyler up to chat about that. But the intention is to grow something here bigger than we could grow by ourselves, right? Is to use the power of the Elite 100 to offer something from all the real estate experts that are in the group for some of us like myself that might not be full-time real estate experts. So I'm super excited for this personally. It's been a long time coming. And I want to share a little bit about why we're creating it. And then because some of the steps to go through it, right? So we had a meeting with some of the high-level real estate people in the group. There was like half a dozen of us. And we talked about, LLC versus syndicate versus fund. And I think the general consensus was, let's get into the first deal together inside the Elite 100, get our feet wet together before we form like a full-blown fund where it's, or it has a big objective. Now, my vision has always been in the Elite 100 is to develop a real estate fund that we grow to like $1 billion or more. You see people like Grant Cardone with Cardone Capital, and they're growing these multi-billion-dollar funds. I mean, that's the vision that I have. That's the vision I think most of the people in the group have. But you obviously have to start with the first deal, right? And I think it's the start that stops most people and most groups. So I think we've done a good job with some of the people. Kevin Dugan was in there, Lenny was in there, Tyler's in there, Ara. So a bunch of us kind of had some early level meetings on what this might look like. So the idea here is, I guess, is to pull together the first deal with the Elite 100 and have people be able to participate. And this is going to be recorded because there's a few people that couldn't make this meeting. And that's what we really want to do, is kind of give an overview and see who might be interested in joining into the deal. So Tyler's got a deal on the table. And this is, if you don't know Tyler, it's literally what he does for a living. He's a complete savage, complete Terminator in real estate, and found a deal. It's all bow tied and gift wrapped really nice. So it's kind of an easy first deal to get into. And I think a lot of the people in the group agreed that it could be a good one. So I'll have him highlight that. But I'm thinking we get our feet wet, we do a syndicate deal. If we all love it, we start to get into bigger and bigger things and actually turn it into a fund that keeps growing, right? Maybe it spins off quarterly cash flow, but it's not like a flipping business, right? Some of you guys have flipping businesses. My vision is to just keep growing and growing, and you're spinning off quarterly distributions. Build it really big inside of the Elite at first, and have certain criteria, and then even offer it outside, like a Cardone Capital would. That's my vision with this thing. I know we have the brain power in the group. We have real estate investors, we have legal, we have Michael Shine, we have attorneys, we have all the parts that we possibly could need, including the network, right? If and when we decide to go outside of the group, we have the network to pull in, arguably hundreds of millions, right? So that's kind of the vision I have with it. And I think we're on the same page. So before we move forward, does anybody just have any like high level questions about, what we're doing here or what the fund is going to be about? Everybody good? Lenny?
Brian, I know there are a couple people on this call that maybe don't know Tyler. So if Tyler would give them,
well, they're about to, yeah, he's gonna tell a little bit about himself and about the deal too, because this first deal, like I said, Tyler does this for a living. A bunch of you guys do this for a living. He just happened to have 60 units, all bow tied up. Like, they get the property management company, they get the construction company, the lease, like everything's really done. So it's an easy deal. And if we all agree that it's a good deal to jump into, that'd be the first one. But it's a good point, Len, because the reason why we're pulling together this group of experts is so we can do these deals all over the country. If we locate something down here in Florida, I might be doing more of the management. I might be pulling together the property management company, the construction team, and doing a lot more of the legwork. Or if we get a deal in Texas where Chris Johnson is, or up where Michael Shine is, or in Boston with Ara. So as we grow the Elite 100, we're going to get more exposure to all the hot pockets all over the country. So some deals you may have nothing to do with it, and you might just throw in $100K and let it ride. Or another deal you might actually bring to the table, and anybody can bring a deal to the table. We'll end up having probably half a dozen people that'll vet and approve. It's kind of my vision, that are just experts in the fields or in the industry. But I can see this, that anybody in the group can bring a deal they'll get compensated for the deal. Depending on their level of involvement, they'll get compensated on all the pieces of that deal. And then the people that are just passive investors are along for the ride, and just knowing that we're all like-minded, right? Everybody in this group is like-minded. There's no narcissists, there's no maniacs. We're all calm. That I think is something that a lot of us probably haven't experienced, building big deals with like-minded people. So I think this is gonna be really unique. And with that being said, I'd love to actually pull up Tyler, and Tyler, just give you a little bit of your background if you want to pull that deal up. And it's not to say that this deal is done, but I think there's a lot of consensus. This would be a good one to jump in. It'd be really easy to do that. So let me give you a screen share, brother.
Awesome, thank you.
And don't be modest about your background too. Give us the real deal.
All right, I got you. So yeah, I could give you guys a quick rundown about who I am and how I got here. So my name is Tyler Smith. I'm the CEO of Alpha Capital. I started the business when I was here. Let me just give my story and then I'll share my screen because this thing's giving me a hard time. So I started the business when I was about 20 years old, dropped out of college because they pretty much told me they weren't going to give me any more student loans, right? I eventually found myself in real estate. I hired a mentor, right? It took me 9 months to do my first deal. And my main business that I do is wholesaling real estate. So what I do is I identify off-market opportunities, direct to seller before they hit the market, before they talk to the realtors, before any other buyers know about it. So we're able to get the absolute best prices possible on these deals. So when I first started, it was really just single family properties. And then I started dabbling in smaller multifamily. And we really just blew up that company. We got it to the point we were doing 40 to 60 deals a month. And we were operational in 12 states, 25 markets, just buying and selling single family assets and reselling them to the institutions, right? So fast forward a little bit through that, I started flipping a ton of houses. I probably flipped about 30 houses, 25, 30 houses last year that I actually bought, fixed, and then resold. And I pretty much took all the money that I made from the wholesaling, all the money that I made from the flips, right? And I just started buying apartment buildings. And my first apartment building, I bought it. It was a 15 unit. I bought it for $740,000. I put in 250 and it appraised 1 year later for 2.1, right? And that was like my big aha moment where I was like, why am I doing so many small deals when I just made $1 million on one deal with minimal headache? So that's when I really started to build my portfolio. At that point, I started building out all the internal teams necessary to run and scale an operation. So we have in-house management, we have in-house leasing, we have in-house maintenance, project management, construction. We source the deals obviously in-house, and we also have in-house lending, right? So it's kind of like the full circle on that. And since that, I built up my portfolio to about 200 units, which I own 100%. I have no partners. It's worth like $28 million. And I'm at the point now where I want to go bigger, right? And in order to do that, you have to partner with like-minded individuals who understand the vision, who see the vision, right? And that ultimately could be good strategic partners. So obviously we were talking about it, and I have this deal that I've been negotiating with for a little while now. And we're at the point where it's like almost a done deal. So let me share my screen right here and let me see if I can go through this. So it would be desktop, open.
I think I made you co-host. You should be able to.
Yeah, you did. I just have to give myself, it was like a security check. I had to allow it. Okay. Let's see. Can you guys see this, my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right, cool. All right, so here's the building, right? So this is just some pictures of it, right? We'll go through it so you guys can see. So this property is 60 units. It was built in 1999. It's a mix of 1 and 2 bedrooms. Most of the units, as you can see, have balconies. There's plenty of parking. It really is just a beautiful, beautiful asset. So I'm just going to flip through it. So like some of the typical stuff that we would do is like upgrade the hallways. This one's actually pretty decent shape, but you'd go through, probably do a new paint job, just touch it up, make it nice. And then these kitchens, right? So this is probably a project that I'd probably budget about $7,500 to. because the bones of it is really, really good, right? All these cabinets are in good shape. Most of the tenants are elderly. Or like middle aged, so they take good care of them. The current owner developed the property, and he's owned it ever since it was built. They've mom and pop managed it, and really have been extremely pretty much a pushover. You know what I mean? Like the rents are stupid low. But as we would go in here, right, we'd paint all the cabinets white. We'd swap this countertop for an upgraded granite countertop, stainless steel appliances, new vanity, paint job, and you're pretty much good to go in here, right? So this is the balconies. They have all of the I forgot what that's called, but it's the plastic decks so they don't go bad.
Specs decking.
Yes, exactly. So here's one of the 2-bedroom units, absolutely massive, right? Like this is the living room area. And then same thing, like if you look at this, probably just tile this around, right? New vanity, paint, and that looks great. Now, some of the things that you should know about the deal, right? Let me just see if I can get around this. Okay, so it's a great location, right? So it's in somewhere called Niantic, which is in New London County. Now I actually am buying a ton of property over here, and the reason being is there is a company called Electric Boat, and if this thing wants to load, it's right here. And basically what they've done is they've gotten like millions and millions, I think it might be billions of dollars from the state. And basically what they do is they build submarines for the US Navy. They do all kinds of really cool stuff there, and they've committed to making 50,000 hires over the next 5 years. So that's going to create a shitload of demand for these types of properties. Now, another really great thing to note is it's literally right walking distance from the beach. So you have 2 beaches, right? You have one right here, right? Really nice beach, right? And then you got another one somewhere over here. And then you have a nice boardwalk that goes all the way along here. So it's a really great location. And then this is the town, right? So you got all kinds of, little delis. They got all kinds of stuff over here, Dairy Queen. So I love the location. I think it's phenomenal. Let me see. And just so you guys can kind of see, well, here's the rent roll, right? So as you can see, everything is low. He's getting 1150, 1150, 1050, 950, 750, right? Now, when you come over here and look at what you can get for rent, it's just ridiculous, right? So these are obviously a little bit newer builds. I would say this one is comparable, right? So for this one, this is in East Lyme, which is right up here, which I would argue that Niantic is a better location. If this thing doesn't want to go away, right? And another thing to note is there's not a lot of product like this out there, right? So if you are relocating and you want a nice beach community, nice area, you're not going to have a ton of options, right? So this one, whoops. Oh my gosh. There we go. Oh my God.
No
Sorry.
Take your
This
time.
thing is damn technology, man.
You're running 1,000 miles an hour. We got to get you to run like 800 miles an hour, a little slower.
Yeah, I know. And I'm trying to work through the having the screen over here. So let's see. I'll go a little bit slower this time. Because I just want you guys to see how low the rents are. It's like ridiculous. So I would argue this is a similar property. Now we don't have a pool. They're renting 1-bedrooms for $1,990 to $2,000.
Holy cow.
And the 2-bedrooms for $2,300 to $2,350, right? So that layout that I showed you, that was a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom unit, and they're renting it for $2,350, right? So like the rents are way below. Now, if you actually look at the numbers here, this is kind of like going in, and I'm still trying to finalize the negotiations, right? So it's a total of 60 units, right? Right now, total annual income is about 820,000. Operating expenses are about 300, and the NOI is 521, right? So going in at a $7.6 million purchase price, we're in just shy of a 7 cap. Now, what I tell everyone is I really try and get in at a 7 and stabilize at a 10 or higher, right? Because that's where there's really a lot of meat. Now at this price, it's $123,000 a door, which is great. You know, I mean, considering it's a newer product, stuff like this is typically trading anywhere from 175 to 275. So with an entry at 125, it's really no brainer. So as you can see here, it's 18 2-bedrooms and 42 1-bedrooms. We're saying, I think I actually have it at 1850 and 22. But assuming that you could bring that full pro forma out, you know, we should be able to get the rents on average up from 1,200 to almost $2,000. And now if you can do that, right, it's going to go from a 7 cap to almost an 11 cap. And then if you resell this asset at a 6.5 cap valuation, which is typically what stuff is trading for, you have like a $5 to $6 million spread in there of built-in equity that we could capitalize on probably within 18 to 24 months. Now, the reason why I like this deal too is because it's a big enough deal and it's a great location, and it makes sense to hold it long term, right? So kind of what Brian was saying is like if we go in here with like, you know, stabilized debt, right? You know, this thing, because I was playing with the numbers a little bit, but at the end of the day, stabilized, right? It'll spit out $350,000 a year, which is a 25% cash on cash return, right? So once you stabilize the deal, right, like you're getting 25% of that money back every year, and then the rest is just gravy, and then you could sell it. So you could do it as a 5-year hold, 10-year hold, right? And you know, it's really just it's stupid. It's a stupid deal. And the other thing about the deal that I think is great is the guy has a second parcel that is attached to this property that he's committed to sell as well for $400,000, subject to approvals. So he said that we could potentially build another 60 units there if you combine them, right? So combine the 60 unit with the land, and then you have the right of way. And I asked him, I was like, why didn't you do it? He's like, dude, honestly, like this was my retirement. I just did this one. I wanted to do the other one. He's like, I never got around to it. I'm 85 years old. Like, you know, like he wasn't even looking to sell. Like we literally called him. So this was not, he didn't call us. We didn't put it out. He wasn't out on the market. All the deals that we do, we literally pull people that aren't even looking to sell most of the time. You know what I mean? It's usually like I'm calling Brian. I'm like, hey, Brian, you want to sell your property? And you're like, not really. Right. And then I throw out a number and you start thinking about it. Right. Or maybe I just follow up with you for a year, right? Once a quarter, right? 2 years, 3 years. And then eventually you're like, all right, cool. I want to sell it. So that's how we're finding these deals. Right. But just at the end of the day, it really is like a no-brainer. And I think like I'm at the point where I want to really grow and scale this thing. And I have to start putting together a track record with not only just my money, but with other people's money, right? So we can get to the next level. So I figured this would be a great opportunity to kind of talk about this deal to see, you know, if it could be a potential fit. And if not, right, like there's plenty of other deals that are coming through the pipeline that will continue to come through the pipeline that, you know, we'll have opportunities on. So.
Awesome, brother. Much appreciated. I want to highlight some of the other members of the team too, because I think the power in the group is exactly that. So this is a potential deal. I like this one a lot too, because I like what you were saying. I'd love to get something that spits off cash flow and hold it, start to build some doors, because you can pull equity out, do the next deal, build a track record, and also, you know, cover like the yearly nut of just operations and running a syndicate and a fund. This is such a sweet deal in my opinion. But I want to introduce some of the other members of the team that could be potentially contributing to, or not potentially, that would be contributing, which is helping to vet deals. Like I said, we have legal representation, we have attorney representation. So, Mr. Shine, you want to just give a little bit of background on who you are and like, you know, what you could bring to the table as far as the syndicate goes? And
Absolutely.
thanks, appreciate that quick rundown, Tyler.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, awesome job, Tyler. So my name is Mike Shine. I am by trade a closing attorney. I've been an attorney since 1990, and I focus solely on real estate. I'm licensed in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Georgia, California, and I'm also a licensed title agent in Florida, where you don't need to be an attorney. So we do closings in all those states, and at the same time, I'm also a real estate investor. We have approximately 50 units. My wife and I partners in Massachusetts and Newport, Rhode Island, and just been doing real estate for a while. Have done a ton of studying on the syndication stuff. I'm an LP in two different syndications. One's a fund and one's actually 400 and something units in Texas. So I know this stuff. I love this stuff. I feel like Tyler, we're just want to get to bigger stuff. Done the smaller stuff, and this opportunity, as soon as it came up, I said I want to be a part of it. So that's me.
Absolutely. Much appreciated, brother.
Yep.
Mr. Dugan, a little bit about your background. You're also an expert in all things real estate.
Yeah, awesome work, Tyler. I have a couple comments after, but my name is Kevin Dugan, owner of Altus Investment Group. I've been investing out of state since 2012. I live in Los Angeles. I built a real estate operation in Chicago. Now we're doing deals in Florida through strategic partnerships. The model that Tyler has is, impressive that he's built it in such a quick speed. I asked him like how he got there so fast, and it started off with the deals. When you have the deals, you can control the price before it even gets to the market and control your entry point, which is absolutely critical. So we're currently managing about 130 doors in Chicago. In-house property management. We have an in-house construction team as well, 2 project managers, 18 subs. I personally own about 75 doors, scattered housing, multifamily. I've been doing this for some time. And our model is always about strategic, like the proper strategy at the right time in the market cycle. With where we are towards like an unknown relative top, you always want to get in for the right price point, and you want to have a specific strategy that allows you to increase value. So, in terms of what Tyler mentioned, it's a Goldilocks situation where at least the conditions are primed to make it a really, really solid deal, assuming that all the rental assumptions are really dialed in, that we can actually hit those rental numbers. That's like key for any multifamily deal. But when you get a hold of a builder who's self-managing and it's like built in the 90s, early 2000s, that's like prime, because the back end mechanicals are really good. The uplift in there, it's pretty much just cosmetic. Paint the walls, change out the light fixtures, change the flooring as needed, change out the face panels for the cabinets. So that's all solid. The property's location being close to the beach, we're doing Airbnbs as well. We have 5 right now, all built remote. We have a pretty good system in place to run it remote. So that property would also be primed to like take over strategic units that are isolated from the rest of the building to enhance income across the board. But once again, the big thing in real estate, it's semi-simple. It's like, where are people going? Where are the jobs? That's a major factor as well. Like, you need jobs to be there in order to stimulate the economy, to increase revenue and rent. And then what can you actually get for rents right now? So overall, not diving into numbers in depth, it looks pretty promising, because you want those easy projects where there's a confidence that we can go in and operationally execute the business strategy in a way where our downside is mitigated relative to the macro factors and the expense of debt right now. With the Fed being at a floor of 5.5%, that just makes everything more expensive. So we at least need to be covering a 5.5, 6 cap to be slightly cash flow positive on this.
Awesome. Well said. So I think you guys can see here that the thing I love about this group is we have every base covered, and that's why I'm introducing some of these people. Even on the insurance side of it, Dalton, if you want to chat a little bit about your background with hoteling and what you bring to the table, we literally have all bases covered in this group.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, on the insurance side, we do everything from a risk management, not only placing the insurance, but then managing risk and putting systems and processes in place to make sure that insurance premiums stay as low as possible, right? Which is just adds to the bottom line of the net profit of the investors and of the owners. So we actually Bobby and I had a meeting yesterday with a tech company group that I'm not going to get into details, but it's pretty crazy what they're doing with geospatial imagery from space to be able to like mitigate risk and look at the soil and buildings and the flood. It's just collecting a tremendous amount of data real time 24/7 from space. So we're super excited about our meeting with them and are doing things that we think can potentially even enhance that side of it even more. But yeah, just from placing the insurance with the best, making sure gaps in bridge, which I mean, we've seen it time and time again. We work with some of the biggest real estate developers in New York and throughout the country, developers and owners. So just from that standpoint, it's a very important thing that's usually overlooked, but can be very detrimental. God forbid it's not set up the right way and there's something that happens, and the liability or the property is not covered properly. So that's what we do on the insurance side.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. And then I'll just say personally through Dalton's network, as far as even finding deals here and there, right? You guys are in the know, you're nationwide. Like the network that Bobby and you have is just insane as far as potentially finding, pretty good sized deals in the future that might be off.
Oh yeah, we definitely can. I'm starting to get more involved in the real estate space, and I'm working with a guy that Tyler knows very well, and that they both have similar strategies. So just the deal flow, and sharing deals back and forth, and potentially being able to partner on different things too. I think there's a ton of possibility. I love this group and this idea for sure.
Yeah, we got to suck him into the Elite 100 too.
Yeah, for sure. We'll work on that. Tyler and I'll hit him from two different angles.
I got you.
Love the energy. So, Mr. Barsoomian, you've been in real estate for about 120 years, so veteran of the group.
At least.
Just a little bit about
At
your
least.
background too, coming from finance and just a long history of being ups and down markets and experience-wise. A little bit about what you bring to the table.
Most of you saw me, got my brief bio at the retreat. My real estate background is kind of interesting because I was software guy for 25 years, but I never was dedicated. Well, I should say that. My eye was always on real estate, so I kept on buying real estate and renovating and keeping and selling some. Started with the small condos and 2-family homes, and went on to larger units. Built my first 5 unit in 2006, and then kept on going from there. I think my strength is I study the market to depth and then invest in it. I don't just jump in just because somebody said, "Hey, such town is doing great." So I've had one bad deal in my life, and the rest were more than break even and fairly profitable. I had a construction crew. I had 20 some odd employees. I have none right now. All I do is sub everything out and wash my hands off of the people as soon as we're done. I don't have to carry any W-2s. So I've had a couple of partnerships that worked out well. So we can build on that hopefully together.
Yeah, and you and Eric up in the Boston area, so that whole Northeast area, Michael's shines in Rhode Island, Tyler's in Connecticut. So we had a strong Northeast presence. There's half a dozen of us down here in Florida. We got Texas covered, and then who we know. So we can hit all the sweet spots, I think, for sure. Mr. Gulikson, did I say that right? Am I still butchering that?
Yeah, it's close enough.
Close enough. Just gonna call you Eric G.
There you go.
Yeah. Just I say a little bit about your background. You're in a different neck of the woods, and the north central part of the country, and we also dabble a little bit into assisted living, right? And we have another assisted living expert in the group here. So this is the 3 areas we're looking at. We're open to more. Is obviously multi-units like Tyler just showed. A multi-unit like that with commercial below, like I live in here in Florida. These are just gold mines. But then even like storage, like in Florida, big storage facilities and assisted living has come up. So we have some expertise in that field, and just a little bit about your background too, and what you bring to the table.
Sure. Yep. Well, I've been a real estate investor since I was 21, bought my first rental house and done it full time ever since. I'm 50. We've flipped many houses, built many houses, and the last 2 or 3 years we built 5 assisted living group homes, which are essentially residential houses in residential neighborhoods. They are built, we build them to look like the neighborhood. There's 6 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. They house between 4 and 6 residents. And that is a cash cow, obviously. There's room to make money there. So I really like those. There's, you find a lot, you hire a builder, and then what we've done is just triple net lease them out to a home healthcare company. So I own the real estate. I don't do any of the home healthcare. I don't go in the house. I don't know who's there. It's just a tenant relationship. So that's what I do in Minnesota.
And I think that's another one of those areas too, right? With the baby boomers, like there's a massive wave, and I do mean massive wave of assisted living needed. We have another expert that deals in multi-100 unit buildings like that are, she's in the expertise of actually running them as far as the service side of it. So I guess the big point here, guys, and I'm not going to go to everybody, but we have the expertise in the Elite 100 that's growing to I think, just really crush this. And I don't see any holes in the armor, from vetting deals to all the different pieces to running deals all over the country. I think we have a really good group here. So that's really why I wanted to bring this together. And also, when we do this first deal, if we find out, I really like the one Tyler brought to the table, because it's just it's an easy deal, because he's, his team's doing 95% of it. So we don't have to find a property management company, find a constructor. We don't have to find all these things. In other markets, we will. We find a deal in Florida, some of us are going to have to, research and find property managers and construction, which is fine. That's the whole point. But this one seems pretty sweet. So I think anytime we find a deal in one of our backyards, it's going to be an easier deal, especially as we build the first few deals and get the first few hundred doors in the group. So we can deliberate on that. But I really want to bring this together. And again, we're recording this to see who might just want to be an investor. We're going to do 100K minimums into the syndicate, the first deal here. And it's more to find out, like, even if you know nothing about real estate, but you might want to, in the Elite 100, diversify your income. That's more about what this recording and this meeting is for. So before we wrap up, what kind of questions you guys have, if any? Anybody who might not be in real estate or
the only one I would have, Brian, is that, do we know how these are going to be structured yet? Like, have we talked about that at all?
Yeah,
in
this
terms
first
of
one,
GPLP, like what's that going to look like?
Yeah, the first one's going to be a syndicate, because we're going to have enough people. It's more than just an LLC. So you have a couple of general partners. Tyler would be the major general partner. Like I said, they're doing like 95% of it. And then everybody else would be LPs. So the reason why we do the first one is a syndicate, because if we get our feet wet and for any reason it doesn't work, I don't see that, you just complete the syndicate, cash out, and everybody goes their separate ways. So before we create an actual fund where we're just, taking money in and doing deal after deal after deal and really rolling this, everybody agreed, let's just put a syndicate together, do this one deal, get our feet wet together. And if anybody doesn't, they want to leave, they can leave. Wants to stay, can stay. This is really the core first deal of establishing that. So I think that's the general.
What about from the general partner carried interest side of things? Did you like 70, 30, 80, 20? Like, what I'm talking about? Like, what's the...
No, we have we got to get those numbers together. And we put together, I think it was Ara and Tyler and Kevin Dugan. There's three of you need to come up with the initial plan for GPLP splits and stuff. So we'll get that to you guys. But right now I want to see who's even interested, right? So we can start to figure out, because the first thing we'll need to do, like if we have 20 of us interested, we all take, $1,000 or $2,000, put it into account. You got to pay for the syndicate, right? There's some clerical work up front that we need to do. And that's going to be a trust thing. You can't start a company. We could put it into, either a matrix checking account, whatever you guys want. But that'd be the first thing, is $1,000 or $2,000 in, form the LLC, get a bank account, put the rest of the money in there, and then roll. But Tyler,
do we know what size equity check we need, Tyler? What's the equity needed?
Muted, Tyler.
You're on mute.
You're muted, brother.
So it depends on how we want to enter the deal, what kind of debt we take, right? So if we take bridge debt and want to like really push it quickly, we would only have to put up 20%. If we want to do more of like just buy, stabilize, and hold over the next couple of years, it'd probably be closer to 30%. So if we're all in on the deal, say 7, 8, right? And so on the high end, we'd probably need 2, 4 on that deal. I'd probably be willing to commit a big chunk of that myself. I think that's also a super important thing to note, is that like any deals that I'm doing, especially, doing a lot of the upfront work, is I'm going to have money invested in the deals. So I would say that we should probably, it would probably between 1.8 and 2.4 is what we would have to come up to close the deal, depending on how it's financed.
And
Got it.
so there's going to be a stabilization phase. To your point, Dalton, it's typically a 70-30 split. Usually there's going to be the pref returns have gone down over the past, year or so, closer to like the 6, maybe 7, but this is going to require, a decent amount of increase in rents. So the cash flows may not be supported the first year as we're turning over a bunch of units. And Tyler, your cash would go into an LP position.
Yeah.
So you'd participate on the upside with everybody else. But we haven't established the exact terms because we have to see all the financials and how those play out. And it'll probably be like an alignment structure, waterfall based is pretty traditional. Like, as the general partnership side performs, they're compensated for performance.
Got it. Yeah, perfect. Makes sense.
That's one thing we'll do. Tyler and Kevin and Ara, if you guys get on a 3-way text, pick a date, soon as you can, hammer out what that looks like, and then we can review it and get the first structure. I would be more of a fan of buying and holding this one personally.
Yeah.
Is that so? Who's kind of leaning that way? And just want to get a consensus. Yeah. I think
I definitely am more of a buy hold. Yeah.
Yeah, you start generating that cash flow, and then you can start pulling money for the deals. And my thought was,
money out too, if you really want to.
Yeah, I think if somebody has an emergency or something, but everybody has their own income outside of this, right? Nobody needs this for primary income. So my thought is like, let's get the idea of getting to 1,000 doors, right? Let's think $1 billion in management. Let's think to the grow it to a point where we can start spinning off either quarterly distributions or whatever. I'll just say barring emergencies if somebody needs the money, but so we'll set up all the legalities around that. But I felt that was kind of the general consensus, is to build this thing that grows pretty significant, build a track record, then we can go outside of the elite and start really rocking and rolling with some bigger stuff.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think one more thing just to point out is that underwriting that I went through, that's at a 7% interest rate. So, obviously if you refinance that, if your interest rates go back down, you refinance out, right? Like that cash flow is going to get significantly better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Awesome. So I'll reach out to you guys all individual and figure out interest. If the 3 of you guys could meet, start working on that. I'll get with everybody over the weekend, see what kind of interest we have. And I'll get back to the main group there on what kind of capital I think we can come up with and who's interested. So I'll follow up on that end. All right. Any other questions, guys?
Is that vacant lot a part of the deal too, Tyler?
400K if we want to buy it.
Yeah, so the vacant lot is going to be separate deal, right? But we would go into contract at the same time, and then we would go in at 400, and then we wouldn't close it until we have full approvals in place.
Okay, because I would definitely want to look into purchasing that vacant lot that's next to that apartment building currently.
For sure, because like I think to your point, like it would almost like magnify the investment, because once you go from, say you build another 60 unit there, now you're going from 60 units to 120 units. Right now it's an institutional asset, and you can kind of like compress that cap rate even more. So the spread on the deal will actually, go even higher. So if we can pull off both, like that's a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Really good,
Tyler?
really good find, Tyler.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you mind sharing the underwriting with me, Ara, and whoever would care to? Because I think that's a discussion point as well. Assumptions are absolutely essential. It's a bit of an art and a science based on the data that you're pulling in the area. But once again, the scenario that you've reached is like leading up to like a Goldilocks situation, right? You know, self-managed, small mom and pop, but builder, they don't know how to manage stuff. They haven't increased rents in forever.
Yeah, and he did a great job because he built it for himself. You know what I mean? He's not like one of these builders that built to sell it, doing everything cheap and slapping it together. He bought it to hold it, you know, I mean, as a retirement for a long time. So
Cool.
Awesome.
Tyler, any idea?
I'll take that info too.
yeah, for sure.
Thank
I'm
you.
just gonna touch up this spreadsheet a little bit, make sure it's 100%, and then I'll share with you guys.
Yeah, we have the WhatsApp group too that's already formed with everybody that just asked. If you want to throw it in there.
Yeah, sure. I can throw it in there.
Cool.
What's the name of that group? Has it already been?
I can throw you in there if you want. It's more about the GPs, you know, people that are gonna be crunching numbers and vetting
I can
things.
send it to you, Chris. I can send it to you, no problem.
Yeah, anybody can have it. Obviously, anybody that's gonna be in will get all the information.
Also, for what it's worth, I might be speaking for him, but my buddy Pete here, he's been a contractor for a very long time, and he's Pete, why don't you share your access to products at wholesale?
Yeah, I own Concept Construction and Concept Kitchen and Bath. Through my kitchen and bath company, I have probably 20 different dealer accounts for cabinetry products. I get all the countertops at wholesale, all the flooring products, millwork products. Even I get huge paint discounts, but just on the supply side for rehabbing the apartment buildings or homes, I can definitely provide a huge savings, so we're not paying a retail markup on the products when any type of investment property comes up, and I can easily drop ship to anywhere in the United States, and plus I also have the top license in the state of Florida. I have the CGC license, so I can build anything from residential to high rise here in the state of Florida. And then I also have reciprocity in other states too. So if we ever find any other land or vacant land, we can do commercial, residential, and then I can qualify in that state and pull the permit for the project. So we don't have to get any other builders involved. But
I love that. That's great. We should definitely talk as well because
Yeah, the conversation.
Tyler, I've already got you scheduled 2 weeks from now. Pete's going to be on that call with us, so that's already done.
Like I've done a bunch of apartment buildings with my uncle. He's got over 10,000 doors.
Wow.
So I've done 2 projects on the West Coast for him. He actually develops his own properties, but I supplied all the flooring, cabinetry products for all those projects. So I'm very familiar with the whole process. And but I typically specialize residential mid to high end here on the intercoastal here in Florida. But no, I love the whole aspect of what we're speaking about, and I'm very, very familiar with the whole process.
Love it.
Awesome. Love it. Love the energy, guys. This is exactly what I envisioned 5 years ago. So I appreciate you all. Again, we'll get this recording out, and I'll reach out to all of you to gauge your level of interest, whether you're a GPLP or just silent invest, whatever it is, see where you guys are at. And we'll get the recording out to the rest of the group because only about half the people were here. So I appreciate you all. Keep the ball moving forward. And again, Kevin, Tyler, Ara, and maybe Michael, if you guys want to get together, crunch numbers, come up with that first, that first split so that we can see that. I think that'd be awesome.
We'll do.
All right, everybody. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.
Later.
Take care, everybody.
Take care.